Hello everybody, this is Caitlin with Mr. Ron LeGrand on another Ask Ron. How are you doing today?
Excellent.
Excellent. How was your week?
It was great. Just got back from my titanium meeting with Dan Kennedy. Debbie and I went up to Cleveland together, spent 3 days up there. And by the way, in case you're wondering what that is a mastermind group. I attend it 3 times a year, and it cost us $32,000 for those 3 meetings. If you think I'm expensive. Okay.
Awesome. Well, we start this questionnaire with Sebert Lewis of Florida.
Okay, Sebert.
Sebert.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's better. Alrighty. He says that I am a new member of the Go Club and recently received a yes response from the VA service on the property I submitted for contact.
Mm-hmm.
The PI sheet indicated the owner is willing to consider taking a monthly payment until we pay him off in full, asking price of $230,000.
That's what a yes lead is.
Yep.
Okay.
Association fee is $350. Property is located in Palm Beach Garden, Florida. This is a townhouse with 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 1,656 square feet.
All right, get to the question.
Comp. Do you think this is a worthy deal?
I don't know. You haven't given me any numbers. Yeah. Does he give me the R?
He just says the area is between 245 to 281.
You have to call the seller and get the answers to the big 3 questions before you have any information that is worth pursuing. You've got the facts in front of you about the house. Now you got to get on the telephone, use my script, and ask the seller the 3 big questions. What's the least you could take? We agree on terms. We usually buy with nothing down. And if I cover you, I assume it's okay if I cover your payment until we pay you off. If you don't get positive answers to those 3 questions, you don't need to know anything else. It's over. If you get positive answers, then you should make an appointment. Now, I don't know whether you have the Gold Club, my scripts or not. We issue them with, they're in a term system. They're in my boot camp, and I hand them out every day at my all-day, one-day workshops. Plus, they're in the $99 online version of my all-day workshop. So, got to have those scripts. You shouldn't even be generating leads unless you have those scripts, because you don't know what to do with the leads, as we're discovering here. Till you make the call, there's no sense in worrying about what the property information sheet says.
Alrighty.
And if you do make the call, now you can get back to me with the facts and something to work with, and I can answer the question.
Alright. Our next one's from Edgar Alexandre of Florida. If I'm doing a lease/option to a buyer, how do we take care of the HOA fee? Should that just be included in the monthly rent, or should we show a separate line?
I establish a rent, and then I pass it on to the tenant buyer, but I make them pay me, not the HOA direct. That was one of those seminars. I want to make sure the HOA gets paid, so I just collect it, and I pay the HOA myself.
Okay. Next one's from Fernando Diaz of Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
I agreed to buy a house with seller financing. The owner put the property into a revocable trust.
Mm-hmm.
Then he will sell the interest in the trust to me. I plan to sell the property to a buyer that will do renovations. Does the conveyance tax apply to both selling transactions?
It probably does, because the seller, in fact, has sold his interest in that trust to you, and the state would require transfer tax on that, and then you're selling it, your interest in your trust, to a buyer. The same would apply, but the truth is there are a lot of investors doing that and getting away with it, so the answer is it's entirely up to you. And then there's another issue that you'll have to investigate with your attorney. Remember, when you put a property into a land trust and you own the land trust, you own personal property. The land trust owns real property. So technically, you're not transferring real property, you're transferring personal property. I could make a case that the transfer tax isn't due, but this is one you probably should address with your attorney in the state where you live. And that means you need a good real estate closing attorney, and he or she may not even be able to answer that question, but that's where I would start. You're going to do it anyway, so I can see that coming.
Awesome. Okay, so our next one's from Minerco Chil of Florida. I understand, and I apologize if I totally brutally.
I'm sure you did.
That was bad. I understand.
We're going to call her Minnie.
Minnie.
Yeah.
I understand that you can make deals in your Roth IRA as well as the CESA and your HSA. Okay.
CESA, Covered Educational Savings Account, to put children through school.
Okay, and the HSA.
Yes. Home savings account.
Gotcha.
Health savings account.
Do you need to set up different LLCs to make deals with your CESA and your HSA, or do you need your IRA own the LLC for those as well?
Well, you can do it either way. If you form an LLC with your IRA, you can also make a kid's CESA a partner in that LLC, but you have to make sure that you split all the proceeds and distribute them into each IRA, the same proportion of which each IRA owns the LLC, if that makes sense. And you could, it's a lot cleaner if you have one for each, but I know that's multiple LLCs, so you should get with Quest on that, or whoever your administrator is, and get to the top, somebody who can answer the questions, and let them advise you on that. I know you can do it, but the question is, should you?
Okay. Our next one's from David Hillhouse of Mississippi.
David?
I've got the VA sourcing leads on Zillow, FSBO.com, militarybyowner.com, and forsalebyowner.com, as well as the Go Club email leads. They are calling and getting PI sheets filled out and getting no answers. I guess I'm in analysis paralysis and don't know what to do next. Should I just start calling leads every day when I get home from work until someone says yes, using which scripts?
Well, David, suggest your first step is get to Quick Start School, because honestly, you're going to have a miserable time trying to figure this out till you do. Besides, for your information, I just changed the scripts as of today. I got some new scripts. I'm taking the old ones and updated them, as I continually do. But your answer is very simple, yes. When you get a lead generated, it doesn't make any difference whether it's a yes or no, to tell you the truth. Yeah, of course you're going to call the yeses first, and most of those are no's, but you only need one or two a month. And then secondly, you're going to call the no's, and you'll be shocked how many of those you can convert to yes if you use my no script. I've already answered on here where these scripts can be had, and I don't really know where you're at in our training system, but there's multiple places you can get them. I don't believe they are posted on the Gold Club site. Do you know?
I don't know.
And honestly, you need trained anyway, because calling and reading the script is just one step. Then you got to get to the house. You got to know how to handle that and what you're trying to accomplish, and then how to handle the objections. All of that is in your training. So see what you can do to get to the training, and before you blow a perfectly good career, it can make you an awful lot of money. You're getting leads, that's good. But honestly, if you don't know what to do with them, that's bad. So yes, to answer your question directly, is all of them need to be called. But I don't know where to tell you to get the scripts unless you're going to get involved in our training.
Okay. Our next one's from Mark Lopez of Florida, and this is a scenario he's going through right now.
Okay.
I just spoke with a FSBO. She says the house is currently rented for $1,900 on a year lease. Her husband has a mortgage through the VA for $287,000 with $1,750 a month.
Okay.
They are open to me taking over the payments for what they owe. I brought up a subject to purchase, which they are open to, except that they need to get the VA loan out of the husband's name. Their debt to income allows them a second mortgage, except the VA caps them at $350,000 in loans. So the first mortgage is holding them back from purchasing.
All right, let me answer the
home they
question.
want.
You want to know how you can get another loan to buy another house? The answer is very simple. First of all, you're not buying that house on subject to, or you're going to kill that seller. If you buy that house subject to, he's not going to get another loan anywhere because his debt ratio will be killed. You got to buy it on a wraparound mortgage so he can show the income to wash out his debt, or he'll never get a loan. Now, the fact that he's got a VA loan means that he will not get another VA loan as long as that debt is on his credit. But he can go get an FHA loan anytime he wants to, as long as his debt ratio is not whacked because of the way you bought his house. So don't buy him subject to. Buy him with a wrap so they can go get a new loan. Cost you little or nothing extra, hurt you in no way, but it sure helps that seller. Plus, of course, if they ever take their contract to an attorney, there's no way an attorney's going to approve a subject to deal because they have no recourse if you don't pay. They do on a wrap. They can foreclose on you.
All right.
By the way, the VA, if you go on va.gov and look it up, you'll find that the VA will not call a loan due if he sells that property on an installment sale contract.
Sounds good. All right, these are our last couple of questions from Brandon Cruz of California. His first one is, what forms do you use to release the notice of option after it has been recorded?
Whatever the closing agent wants you to sign, because they'll all come up with something different.
Okay. His next one's, would the notice of option affect a double close when transferring to the end buyer?
Sure, if the end buyer is going to get title insurance, absolutely, because somebody's got to release that notice. And honestly, if I were you, unless you live in Pennsylvania or North Carolina or any state that requires that being recorded, I wouldn't record a notice of option. I don't record them here in Florida. So you'll have to check with a closing agent on that one. Then you won't have to worry about getting it released. But yeah, it's a cloud on the title. It's going to have to be released before when you transfer title. But that's not up to you to create the form. That's up to the closing agent.
All right, we're on our last one. If you don't recommend a double close, what is the best alternative to transferring title to the end buyer?
You create a new contract from the seller to your new buyer at the raised price. And then on the closing statement, let's say you're making 20 grand, the 20 grand will show as an option fee or a consulting fee. And you'll get a check right from the closing agent. Of course, your seller has to know what's going on. They shouldn't care. They're in the contract anyway. I don't think they believe you did this as a non-profit organization. And then your buyer won't even know anything until they go to closing, but even then they don't know what that consulting consulting fee means, and they shouldn't care. Remember, you don't sit in a room at a table anymore. Everything is done electronically. So if you do it right, the only thing my buyer is going to see is information concerning my buyer, and my seller is going to see information concerning my seller, and they may not ever even know each other's numbers. But honestly, it's never affected me. So good news is there's no double closing costs because seller's transferring it directly to buyer, and that's the easiest way to get it done. And especially if the buyer is going to go get another loan. If the buyer is going to go get another loan, there is no way when they check the title, they're going to come back and say, well, who's this guy? Who's this guy, which is the owner of the property, which is your seller? And of course, if you have a contract between your entity and your buyer, you're not going to get it done without some serious explanations and showing an option and all that. Just as easy to transfer it from the seller to the buyer, and then you have no title issue as well.
Okay, that was our last question.
Okay?
Yep.
That's it? All right.
That's it.
See you guys next week. Go do something productive.